I guess a question for Ryan. I mean, obviously you guys all have like an insane amount of followers, right? And have any of these guys done something that you're like, oh, damn it, they got to it before I did. I need to one up on them.
Are you just asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, they do stuff all the time that I just get so mad. But no, I think we all have pretty different styles in a way. One thing I try to do differently is I do whatever I feel like doing. You know, I don't just stick to one thing. If I want to do a lip sync, I'll do one. If I want to make a song, even though I can't sing like Tim, I will make a song. And that's pretty much what I've always stuck to.
I think even if we did have like a similar idea, we would do it in very different ways.
Yeah.
So like it would still feel fresh and new to the viewers. At least I would think so, because I think we're all pretty original in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys do collaborate a lot too with each other, right?
I can't stand these guys.
Okay. So, and I don't want to discourage anybody in this room from like, looking up to you guys and wanting to do whatever it is that you guys do. But if we have to just lay it out on the table, what would you say is like the most challenging thing about doing whatever it is that you guys do, and something that you want? I mean, because when we have been getting invited to speak at panels and stuff, we meet a lot of really aspiring magazine like makers. They want to do the whole DIY thing, and they're like, oh, one day like my dream is to have my own magazine. And we always feel like we're sort of spilling water in people's faces when we have to say, well, you have to think about publishing costs, you have to think about where journalism is going, it might be dying, I don't know, what's going on. So for you guys, like what, if you have to lay it out on the table, right, like the most challenging things that you guys want people to be realistic about when they go into this, what would you say it is?
First off, I think you have to have thick skin, because especially being on the internet, people are going to try and, get an emotion from you, like they'll send letters of hate mail and telling you should stop. And one of the main tips if you want to start is to have thick skin and just to either ignore them or use it for your own benefit.
I think there's definitely a few things. One of it would be like, actually imagine, like everyone's all saying we want like more views, more subscribers, whatever, but like actually imagine if you had it, what would you do with it? Because, like, I think a lot of people just kind of just stop there and they say, oh shoot, I got X amount of hits, yes, but it's like, okay, what now? So it's more about like, it's less about how many views you get, and it's more about what you do with the eyes that are watching you. We have amazing reach to like, the people that support us, thankfully, but I think the question that we should always ask ourselves is, well, what are we doing with those viewers and those eyeballs? Because we actually have, a huge amount of influence, and that's kind of like I think one question that you need to decide first. It's like, well, when you get there, what are you going to do with it? Because some people might not know.
Right, and like when I started, when we all started, we didn't anticipate getting this large following, but once you do have a large following like that, you kind of take on a role model position where, if you mess up, there's a lot of people that are going to criticize you or say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you're a role model now, or your people, look up to you sometimes. So yeah, it's definitely some pressure to, be funny, but not, I know Tim's a really good role model, and so he knows it. No, but yeah, it's just, you gotta say, you want to, also for us Asian Americans, we want to like support that Asian movement and represent Asian Americans in entertainment, so yeah, there's a little pressure there, but I mean, pressure is good, that's why we do it.
See, it's funny that you mentioned that, because with me, I think, because you're talking about being a role model, sometimes I think I try, especially with the videos, to be a little more of an asshole, or a little, because like sometimes you watch my video, like you saw that one where I was like, yeah, I'm the shit at everything, and like I'm not like that in real life, but when I make my videos, I make sure I try and do that to try to show that, like, okay, look, not all Asian guys are timid and quiet, so I want to, like, okay, look, we're cocky assholes sometimes, like sometimes, sometimes we only want girl for her body sometimes, I put it out there, so it's like, look, we're not these little sensitive little things all the time, So in terms of being a good role model, like, on the reverse,
I think actually, Tim, what you do really well that we like is that you represent that side of things too. That needs to be said as well. So that's why.
I think you guys touched on a really interesting stuff that I want to talk about. Actually, two things. So the first one, like you guys mentioned, like pressure from the community. And you know, as we all know, there are a ton of like nonprofit organizations like out there doing amazing things, like you know, like fighting for immigration reform and you know, healthcare, like all of that stuff. The Filipino Veterans Bill. Do you guys feel the pressure? And I'm sure like maybe you guys get approached a lot too. Like, hey, can you just plug us a little bit? Like, how do you balance that, you know, with the stuff that you want to do, and at the same time like support the community and also like educate and raise awareness?
Yeah, I mean, I used to get a lot of those things too, and I don't know if you guys know my second channel, Jumbo Fun, but it's basically that where I find a balance where I do what I want to do, which is make videos and make people laugh, and then at the same time, the more people watch. So I don't really have to like, you know, money doesn't really come out of my pockets, but it's just me doing creative things and being funny and being able to raise money for these charities and these things. So that was sort of how because my parents too, they always like tell me, like they raised me like, oh, like my dad's favorite line in any movie is from Spider-Man when he's like, when great power comes great responsibility. So you know, my dad tries to be like Confucius, and he tells me that when I started getting popular on YouTube, he was like, now that you have responsibility, you have to. So, and then I was like, yeah, you're right, Dad. So, you know, Jumbo Fun kind of started from all that, and yeah, it's cool.
I think there's definitely like you know, a lot of orgs like do kind of, you know, approach asking to put their agenda on you, and I think you have to at least for me, like I always ask myself, like there are always noble causes and stuff, but it's like, you know, that you can only do so much, and to a certain point, like you have to also you know, think about where your position is at too, because if you started doing too many of these other things, then you won't even be in the position to, you know, be talking to like your viewers anymore, because they won't be expecting the same things. So you kind of have to just make sure that you're not selling, that's the wrong word, but like catering too much to something that, you know, isn't, you know, something that you really want to do as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think like on YouTube, on your main channel, what you want to do is you always want to keep your fans and viewers engaged for the reason they subscribe. Like, even though you want to help, because I've done videos first, like Revo and some other nonprofit organizations, but you don't want to just like spread yourself too thin. You know, you don't want to just do all like every single little thing that comes into you, because then your fans will be like, what the hell is this? You know, they didn't subscribe to you for charity, even though it's for a good cause. It's not why they're watching. So, like what Kev did with his second channel, I think that's really good. And I don't have a second channel, but when stuff like that comes in, I go on Twitter, use my Facebook. I just try to keep that YouTube kind of separate in a way. But yeah, I've used my main channel for that occasionally, but not all the time.
I don't do any of that stuff.
I think it's about finding a good fit between, like, I guess your identity like online and the work that you make online, finding a good fit with, you know, something that you support. You don't want it to come out of nowhere. And I think as long as you have a good following, they'll understand what you're trying to do. And you know, the better you integrate that cause into a video, or for us, a video that like, okay, I'll just an example, like if a charity came to us or a cause came to us, we would try to integrate it the best we could into our regular videos so that it wouldn't be as jarring for the audience. And I think hopefully people appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.